I received an interesting question that led me to recall what I did when I was in the Air Force at MacDill Air Force Base. I was living in the bachelor officers' quarters from the time I got there until the time I got married and moved off base. And I wanted to have my antenna up. I still had my 14 AVQ, and I wanted to run radio from my room. So, how did I do it? Well, I got permission from the base commander to do this, and also talk to the people who ran the BOQ and bachelor officer quarters. And then I went and put it up there. Now, this comes as in response to a question from Stan Miller, ZS1HG. And he lives on the top floor of a condo that has a concrete roof, and his landlord absolutely prohibits him from going through the roof, which I can thoroughly understand because roof systems are actually fairly complex, and people, you don't want to penetrate them if you can avoid it. You never want to penetrate them because it's really hard to seal around the penetration. So this is how I did it in the Air Force. The BOQ had a flat concrete roof. This was in Florida. Okay. Then there was a walkway with the railing. And then there was the first floor. Okay, and this was on the ground floor over here. And my room was on the ground floor. And the only way to get the antenna to the roof was to put in a piece of plastic pipe that was big enough to go here, run the cable out, I think it was out the window, up here, along the bottom of this, up through here, and up onto the roof. Well, what did I do when I was on the roof? And they didn't have a problem with my doing this. You know, I don't know how people would do this with a more common roof. Now we're going to look down. Okay, here's the roof of the building. The wires are coming up over here. And it was, the roof was I think, roofing paper with tar and little stones on it, so you could walk on it occasionally without causing problems to the roof. So I went up here and I created a platform that was a piece of plywood, and I think it was 3 by 3 or 4 by 4. Okay, attached the antenna to the middle and put some guys up from the corner of this to kind of hold it up. 14 AVQ isn't all that tall. Mounted this thing in the middle. These have got to be insulated guys, so you want UV resistant rope. And then we put bricks on here. Okay. Now, if you look at this from the side, you've got the flat board and the flat roof. And you put bricks up here. Okay. You don't want to put the bricks on here, because that will cause a problem with the roof eventually. They will sink down into the roof, especially on hot days, and that can lead to leaks and all kinds of problems. Okay, so I put those on the platform. You can make a bigger platform if you want. Okay, you could even make a little platform out here, one over here, and one over here for guying purposes if you wanted to. Okay, and if you're in Florida, he's in, let's see, Stan Miller is ZS1HC, I think that's South Africa. So he has kind of a Mediterranean climate down there, but you can get some pretty strong winds. Now this thing sits on the roof and doesn't put undue pressure on the roof. The actual pounds per square inch here is pretty low. And then you've got your antenna sitting here going up, okay? And that way, you're not impacting the roof at all. And it is flat, it's level up there. Now, you're going to want to run radials out from here. And to keep those radials in place, you're going to want to put a stone or something like that, maybe a paver, maybe just a brick with the thing attached here, and the brick sits flat on there, and there's no weight on it, so it's not going to sink into the roof. Then you have a fine antenna on the roof. The only part that is visible from the ground is the antenna itself. And then you come around the corner. Often on these buildings, there's what's called a parapet. The roof sits in kind of a open area here where this edge goes up over the it goes up beyond the top of the roof. So if here's the roof, the parapet wall is like this. So you're going to have to put some sort of a conduit. If you can get some conduit or paint some pipe to look the same color as the building, that would come down and go in your window. Or if you can punch some sort of a hole in the side and put a wall through or that sort of thing, then you will have what you are looking for to make for a good antenna. And this does work. I know, I've tried it. I did it. I did it when I was in the Air Force, and it worked just fine. So, so Stan, I think that there is a chance for you to do this. You can put up a nice antenna up on the roof. If your Condo, a homeowners association, doesn't allow you to make any holes in the roof, but will allow you to set something on the roof that will have very low impact in terms of pounds per square inch, they may very well let you do this. Now, note that everything I've talked about was wood, and I do that because I know far more about wood than I do about metal. You know, I have some projects that should have been made from welded pipe and stuff, but I made them out of wood because that's all I know how to work with. I thought maybe I need to learn to weld. I mean, TIG welders are real cheap these days at Harbor Freight Tools. You know, Montrose is on the map now. We got a Harbor Freight Tools. So anyway, he's on his condo. So I think that this would work for him. That the antenna, of course, can be as multi-band as you want. The other option, if the radials seem ungainly, is to put up something like a 14 AVQ. No, not 14 AVQ, AV640. It's a high gain antenna, I think, or Cushcraft, not sure which. They all come from MFJ, so it all sort of melds together. But the AV640, you go 40 through 10, and including the work bands, not 30. And it will work very well for you up on a roof like that. And then you don't have to put any radials in. You want to get the base of the thing up a couple feet above ground level. So you might put in a 5-foot mast and then very carefully tighten that 5-foot mast down to that piece of wood and then put it skyward. I would not recommend getting a 4x4 piece of steel or something and putting that down, because that's just too heavy for the roof. It would make it kind of hurricane proof, I understand that, but the steel is just too heavy. And an aluminum sheet that big, you know, 1/4 inch or something like that, would be very expensive to put in. So there you go. There you have some options for you to put up your antenna. I hope one of those ideas helps you out. So there you have it. I want to talk a little bit about the giveaway that we've got going on. This is a fairly new feature of the channel. We've already had our first giveaway. My study is filled with books and gadgets I've accumulated from having this channel for many years, and it's time to thin the herd, so to speak. I'm announcing the second giveaway, and this is to hams in the USA because shipping overseas is an issue. The postal rates overseas are just phenomenally expensive. Okay, the item to be given away is this, the end-fed half-wave antenna. It's 80 through 10. I don't think it does 60 meters. And it's, because of the Q of the antenna, it's only the bottom 100 kilohertz or so of 80, but that's where you find FT8. Okay, you can get a 7510 if you want to have a little phone up at the top, but I think FT8's the most popular mode on ham radio right now, so this might be the right thing for you. So, this is the antenna. Its frequency coverage is 80 through 10, although, as I said, only part of 80. The wire length is 130 feet, power handling 1 kilowatt, like of single sideband, maybe 500 watts of CW. The weight's 2¼ pounds. The key thing is, if you read the instructions, it talks about a lot of ways you can mount this, but it hints strongly it should be an inverted V. So that's the way I put it up, just like they described how they took their drawings in here. It's going to be each end at 7 feet and the middle at 20 feet, two pieces of chain link fence top rail put together and guide so that they'll stay up. And I thought, I don't know how well this antenna is going to work, but it was phenomenal. I didn't have to put a counterpoise or anything on it. It worked phenomenally well. Now, I did use a 50-foot piece of coax with it, so that may have acted as the counterpoise too. You'll note it's kind of hard to see in the drawing here, but right over here is a vent for this. So this should be positioned with the top up. So this it lets the heat out, also lets any water vapor out. Okay, I don't care how tightly you seal a box that is set outside, it will get water in it. And that's because of the expansion contraction of the device with the daily cycle of the sun. Okay, so that's what the device is. Here's how the giveaway works. It's totally free to you. Send a postcard, QSL card, or simple one-page letter by snail mail to P.O. Box 98, Ridgeway, Colorado 81432. On whatever you send, make sure to include the giveaway number, in this case 2, your name, call sign, and shipping address. Please include your phone number in case I have questions. Please nothing else, though if you want to send a picture of you and your station, I may be able to show these during the live stream. Now, all the envelopes that come, I do open and read what's inside. So if you have any comments, if you have questions, please submit those through the normal path. Electronic submissions will not be accepted. I strongly urge you to mail early. I have a couple here that came after the deadline for the drawing. This one was mailed the 25th of August and did not make it here in time. This one I can't tell. It looks like the 20th. Could not make it in time, okay? So make sure to mail it early. Give the post office at least a week to get it here. The post office is going through a huge transition right now. Note that I will pay the antenna shipping, so it's all totally free to you. I hope to do something like this every month. Note that after the drawing, all entries will be discarded and no information will be kept or transcribed. I do look inside every envelope. So there you have it. If you would like to help support this channel, you may do so by going to dcasler.com/support and picking a way that you find most helpful. There's a link there to Patreon too. Please also subscribe and click the bell and click like, and don't forget to comment. Until we next meet, 73.